Hello, Earth Angels. Welcome back to another episode of Alignment Academy. I'm Kristen. I'm your host, and every week we drop in and talk about topics related to spirituality, mindset, entrepreneurship, spiritual development, soul development, really all of the things kind of blended into one. This is a school for your soul to evolve and grow, and I think that some of the tools that your soul uses to evolve and grow are not only your soul's purpose, but your triggers, your trauma, all the hard things in life, right? So we really just talk about the light stuff on this podcast. I'm kidding, obviously. But yeah, I'm really excited that you're here with me. I know you're going to learn a lot. Today is going to be a little bit of a different episode because we're going to just do a little bit of a personal update. I always try to update you guys on what's going on in my life, but honestly, there's been some things that I've been keeping to myself, or I just haven't felt the energy to go into extremely deeply. Is that a word? Extremely deeply? You know, whatever. I don't know why I'm nervous. I feel like I'm nervous to tell you guys all this stuff because it's like things that I haven't talked about publicly yet, but I know we're going to have a lot of fun today. I know we're going to just, you're going to get to know me a little bit more. And you guys know, like, the podcast is my home. Well, if you're a podcast listener, you know way more about me than I really share with like the rest of my world. And it's interesting because I feel like most people might assume that I share the most on Instagram, but I would say, like, from a personal standpoint, I share the most on my podcast and then on my TikTok and then on my Instagram, mostly because I can just post more on TikTok, so I can just like say random shit, whereas like stories sometimes need to be so curated and like feeds need to be so curated. There's just not as much room to have fun on Instagram. So we're going to get into it today, just talk about some things that are going on in my life. I have like 5 big updates. You guys know I have a Virgo moon. If you don't know, I'm an Aries sun, Aquarius rising, a Virgo moon. So whenever I'm like scripting podcast episodes or like deciding what I want to talk about, a lot of times it's like in points. So I'm like, maybe it's going to be more than 5, maybe it's going to be less than 5, but 5 things for sure that we're going to cover today. Also, with the time change, at least here in America, if you're in America, like the sun is really just killing me because it's not even that late in a day and it's like the sun is setting right now, and I know the lighting might be a little wonky. And guys, if you're annoyed at my lighting, I'm just as annoyed at myself, and I am going to figure it out in the next couple episodes. I promise. I just ordered some stuff. We're going to get it all here. I just need to figure out this whole podcasting thing, but this is like the epitome of me. I'm like a messy action girl. I'm like, done is better than perfect. Let's just get it up and at it. But today was one of those like tech days where it took me so long to set shit up because everywhere that I usually podcast, like the lighting was just so terrible because of the time of day. And I'm just like, I'm so fucking sick of my shit. Like, why don't I just do it right the first time? But you know what? It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm calling in an actual podcast studio in 2025. So that's where we're headed. The first thing that I wrote down was this random thought I had the other day driving where I was like, oh my gosh, I've literally never shared this on my Instagram, on my podcast. Like, this is a part of my story that I think I've literally just blipped out of my mind. So I always shared with you guys, like, I'm not really friends with my college friends anymore, which again is fine. Like, we're at peace with that and it's all good. But the thing is I never shared, like, even in college, I kind of knew I was like, I just like didn't really have the same interests as them. I was just a little bit more, I'm going to call it like entrepreneurial and deep and like business oriented, I think. And one of the things that I did in college that I think is so funny and cute now, because it kind of just goes with the theme of my life of like businessy entrepreneurship girly. I was in a sorority, and that's how I met my friends at the time, and I love them. Like, they were so fun. Like, I always used to joke to like my sisters, I'm like, my friends are too fun for me. Like, they do too many fun things and I don't want to do fun things like drink every night. Year 2, when I realized like I'm not getting as fulfilled as I want to in this dynamic, I actually joined a business fraternity. And for like the next 3 years, I literally hung out with my business fraternity like most nights, and it was like all these nerds that were just like really amazing people. Like, I don't want to call them nerds, but it was more disciplined, nerdy-esque types of people. They were really cool though, and they had really good hearts. And I just remember I would always be like, bye, I'm going to hang out with my business fraternity. And like, it was intense. I had to like rush for this business fraternity. I remember I had to do like 100, no, maybe it was 100. It was like 50 interviews with all the brothers. Like, we were called brothers. We would have like crazy business meetings and stuff where we would like meet with like BMW and network with like BMW alumni. I don't know. It was like really weird, but I just like remember that part of my story and I was like, I've never talked about this. And I think it's really funny because I just think it's cute. Little Kristen always knew she was supposed to be a little business girl. And I thought I was going to climb the corporate ladder and be a little CEO, boss ass bitch at Under Armour or something. But I mean, we all know how that turned out. I had crystals at my cube and it didn't really quite turn out that way. So that was a funny part of my story. I feel like if you really look back at your past, there really are always clues. That's all I gotta say. Like, even when you think there's no clues, there's always clues of what you were really supposed to do. And that was just a really funny one that I remembered the other day. Okay, so my next life update is, as you guys know, oh my God, literally this is how my life works. Like 1 year, guys, feels like 3 years. So this year, I went so deep in my healing. Like I went to 2 Joe Dispenza retreats. I went to Joshua Tree 2 times, did probably 3 heroic doses of mushrooms. And then after that period, like I would say really when I moved to my new space where I am now, like I was in that earth era that I tell you guys about. Like I was just so grounded on earth. I was playing in the water, literally playing in the water, surfing. Like I was just really, really grounded in my human body. And during that, if you've never microdosed or worked with mushrooms, like they very much tell you when they want to work with you. And they also tell you when it's time to put them down and not work with them. And so late last year / beginning of this year, 2024, I had a lot of experiences with them that were so transformative, and I went in for like big doses, right? And I even hosted my own mushroom retreat February of this year. These were amazing time periods, but like I can't explain it. When summer started, mushrooms just would not work with me anymore. It was actually around my Costa Rica retreat. I was trying to microdose before Costa Rica, and mushrooms were just like, they were not sitting well in my system. I would immediately get super tired and go right to sleep. And that's just a sign for me, like, hey, they don't want to work with you right now. Like you don't need to be microdosing right now. And I even remember during my Costa Rica retreat, I love microdosing while I'm hosting retreat because I just feel a little bit more tapped in. I remember I couldn't, like they were affecting me really, really badly. And like I microdosed one day of Costa Rica, and I could like feel everything to a uncomfortable intensity. And I was like, I do not need this right now. And so from, I guess it was like April of this year to literally a couple weeks ago, it's November. So November, I have not touched any mushrooms. I have been completely sober. I don't even think I've really drank alcohol. I've just been sober. It was a really good break, but then something in me recently was like, I think it's time to microdose again. And so I microdosed one day, and I just was like, oh baby, we're back. So my next update is that like I'm microdosing again. I put myself on a little protocol, and I just feel so good because, as you guys maybe know, maybe don't know, when you're microdosing, and you're also going through a lot of inner work, it just kind of pulls it up to the surface. So I like to say that mushrooms enhance anything that you're feeling already. So if you're feeling sadness, it's going to enhance that. If you're feeling happy, it's going to enhance that. And so when you're working through a lot of negative emotions, it enhances it, but it actually helps you move through it quicker. And mushrooms have a very high frequency, and their purpose is trying to get you to a higher frequency too. But how do you do that? You do that by releasing density, by releasing trauma, by releasing limiting beliefs. And then your vibration raises to the vibration of the mushrooms, which is what it's trying to help you accomplish. And so whenever I'm feeling negative emotions during microdosing and stuff, like I lean into it. That's great. That's the purpose of it. I mean, yesterday I microdosed and I had a really, really hard day. Like I was feeling so fucking uncomfortable all day. And I was feeling this resistance in me of like what was going on in my present moment life. And I'm like, I hate this, but I also knew the medicine was to sit in it. So I journaled, I meditated twice yesterday. I really got the energy out. I went on like a 3-mile run, and I like set the intention before the run, like get this energy out of me, just move it out of me. And I felt so much better after the run. So you can really kind of like work with energy more because you're just heightened to it, right? That's kind of my microdosing update. I'm back microdosing, and I think I'm actually going to go in for another ceremony soon. I'm just waiting for the right time, the right place, etc. That should be fun. So that's my life update. That's what I'm kind of doing behind the scenes, and kind of like going off of that. I don't want to share this because it feels very vulnerable, but I feel the need to share it because I think that number one, I want to out some shadow around it. And I also just want to be frank with what's going on with you guys. And I think it's going to help someone too. Today's episode is brought to you by Alignment Academy, the membership. I created this membership to offer a crazy affordable and safe space for you to heal your deepest wounds, build unshakable confidence, and activate your highest timeline. Imagine being surrounded by a community that truly gets you and not feeling freaking crazy or like you're knocked off your path by trigger after trigger after trigger. Because believe me, I've been there. And in order to actually heal, you kind of got to sit your booty down and do the freaking work to actually reprogram your subconscious mind and create higher self-worth through your actions. When you enroll in Alignment Academy, you're going to gain access to an extensive library of 7 past masterclasses, 6 of my best-selling meditations, along with a new monthly masterclass to help you guys transform, grow, and actually take action towards your goals. Every month, we also have live inner work meditations led by me with topics such as inner child work, shadow work, future visioning, playing in the quantum field, and so much more. And if you're wondering, where the heck is my soul family and why is the spiritual journey so lonely? I'm telling you, they're inside of Alignment Academy. Everyone in there is truly a special frequency. We're all talking about Joe Dispenza meditations. We're talking about entrepreneurship, trailblazing our own path, healing our inner child wounds, shadow work, how to set empowering boundaries. It's such a high vibe conversation, and I can't wait for you to experience it yourself. If you were to buy a live coaching call with me, plus all the masterclasses, plus all the meditations just as one-off things, it would be over $5,000. And I'm offering this all to you for $77 per month. I am calling in people who are here for the long haul and really trying to do the healing work. But if you don't like it, you can cancel anytime. If you're interested in joining us, you can enroll with the link below, and I can't wait to see you inside. I feel like the things that I've been working through have been a lot around relationships. And I thought I was ready for a relationship, and I still think I'm ready. However, I think that sometimes when we're ready to start looking at things in a new way, and we're ready to start working through all the things that are blocking us from having that thing, right? So if you're ready to start your business, you might be ready, but you have to also be ready to go into the shadows and the limiting beliefs and all the things that are holding you back from having that business, right? And so that's kind of what's happening with me in relationships. I've been sharing for the last 3 months that I've been ready to call in love, and I've gotten some reflections back, and it has brought up so many shadows and feelings of unworthiness that I have really buried down. And it's interesting because I don't really remember feeling this unworthy, if I'm being completely honest, before my last partner. And I think that because of the breakup, it actually set me back a little bit more because I loved him so much and I thought we were forever. It almost was like when he didn't reciprocate that back in the end, it was like, oh, okay, so maybe I am unworthy. Or it's like, it almost like validated my biggest core wound. And for those of you that don't know, my dad kind of got a new family when I was pretty young. I think I was like in 5th grade when my parents' affair started, or my dad's affair started. And then, he had 2 kids with another woman who happened to be my mom's secretary and my babysitter. It was a messy divorce, and it also went on for a really long time. Like it went on for years and years and years. And so I have a lot of my core wounding around the abandonment from men from that, and also like super unavailable men, or like men that, kind of leave empty promises, things like that. I think that you have to work through these things in layers. It's not like you're going to work through it one period of your life. Like, yeah, I had a relationship that was beautiful, and then like it brought up a lot of stuff, and now I'm like working through even deeper layers of it. And so I've had a lot of shadow, like I had shadows come up around being desperate. Like I thought at first that if I was dating, then I was desperate because nobody was choosing me. And so I had to work through the shadow of being desperate. And if you have taken any of my courses and done some shadow work, you know how that works. It's like what we don't own owns us. So like I was even shameful of looking desperate. So I didn't even want to get on dating apps because I'm like, if people know I'm dating, then they think I'm desperate. And that means somebody's not choosing me. But I had to reprogram it in my subconscious mind. And how I worked through it was like, instead of thinking that I was desperate, I had to look at myself as like, oh, I'm available. I'm putting myself out there because it's not that nobody's choosing me. It's just that the correct vibrational match hasn't come into my reality. It has nothing to do with me being good or not. It's like also soul contract based. It's timing based. Like there's so much more to just somebody choosing me. Like if I really wanted someone to choose me, I could probably find someone to choose me, but it's like, I'm looking for the right person in the right package, right? And that has to be like a vibrational match. And it doesn't mean that just because, XYZ person didn't choose me, that I'm not good enough. It just means that that wasn't a vibrational match. That's all it means. And so I've been working through a lot of shadow stuff with that, of like working through the shadow of desperate, working through the shadow of even single. And it's interesting because when I look at other people, I don't think that other single people are unworthy. Like I'm like, oh my God, girl boss, love her, right? Like even like almost 30 girl, Krista Williams, like I fucking love her, and she's in her single era and she's, really killing it. And I'm like, I don't think that that's desperate at all. I don't think that she looks desperate. I think it's amazing that she's single. It's almost like a weird personal shadow where I'm like, oh, because I'm single, it means I'm unworthy. Like it means I'm not good enough. And yeah, it was this really deep shadow, and I'm not going to lie, I'm still working through it. I'm still kind of unpacking like these core memories and wounds of like boys choosing my best friend when I liked them when I was like in third grade, and all of these different kind of core wounds. I'm like doing so much inner child work right now, so much shadow work to really reprogram them. And I'm also at a point too where I'm like, maybe there's no more inner work to do. Hear me out, because I always think there's inner work to do, but like maybe me focusing so much on this is like almost exasperating the problem. So I'm really right now in this now moment, in this day, I'm also focusing on like, let me just be where I am. How can I just accept where I am? Because the more that I'm needing it to change right now, it's the more that I'm not in acceptance for this moment. So I'm working with like, as you can probably see, like my brain is really jumbled with it. And I think that I'm going to start working pretty closely with a mentor on this, because I have my mentor, but we don't work on this specifically. I just want to go a little deeper, and sometimes you can't see your own blind spots. That's been something that I've been working through, and I don't know, hopefully it makes you feel less alone if you're also working through some shadows around dating or relationships or things like that. The thing is I know, guys, one day I'm going to be on this podcast giving you the epic fucking story. I know it. I know it in my bones. I can feel it. I can see it. I can taste it. I can touch it. It's just like it hasn't happened yet. And I'm an Aries. I'm impatient as fuck. So it's been definitely a whirlwind for me. But like, if I really think about it, it makes sense that this is what I'm working on right now, because so many reasons, right? Like my astrology points to it. My Saturn return is in my second house, which is the house of self-worth, and it's conjunct my Venus, which is love. So it's like I'm working on self-worth in money and finances and love. And like, honestly, the money stuff is dialed. Like I have really mastered money this year. I've mastered energy this year. It's like I mastered my business. Not like I don't mean to say like I'm done with it, but like I feel really good where I'm at with it. This is just the next layer of healing. And so I was talking to my friend Bree about this the other day. I visited her, and you guys know Bree. She's been on the podcast, and I used to host retreats with her. But I was just kind of like, it's always something, like she's going through family stuff. I'm going through relationship stuff. We're never gonna, I think that this is life. Life is just an unfoldment of problems that you're solving. And you have to just learn how to be okay with it all and be at peace with it all and know that nothing is wrong and it's all good and it's all okay and it's all working out exactly as it should be. So that's kind of the latest with that. I am quickly interrupting this episode to remind you guys that if you're a listener, which clearly you are, I have created a free meditation for all of you. This meditation was built out of my rock bottom when I needed to trust the universe and release a lot of anxiety I was feeling, and I didn't know how. So I learned how to trust the universe, and I'm going to teach you how in this meditation. It's really practicing this feeling of being held and supported and remembering that you actually are held and supported by the universe in every single moment. All you have to do to get this meditation is to rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on, and then go ahead and head over to my podcast Instagram at Alignment Academy Podcast. Give it a follow, and then message me on there with a screenshot of your rating or review, whatever platform you're listening on, and I will send you the meditation. Okay, now back to the episode. Okay, the fourth personal update I have is that I am almost done with a new energy healing modality. It's called Ahai, and it is similar yet very different. Like I feel like the only way that I can describe it where everyone would understand is like it's like similar to Reiki, where Reiki is an energy healing modality. Ahai is also an energy healing modality. It was channeled by somebody I'm getting mentored from right now named Christina. It's been really exciting. I feel like I'm not ready to share all the details of it, but it's a 7D energy healing. So it's from the 7th dimension. And basically I'm attuned to the energy now. So it runs through me and it's called like the miracle frequency. It's like a divine feminine miracle frequency that really cuts through energy and like cuts through beliefs, cuts through energy really quick. And energy is so many ways, right? Like there are chords, there's beliefs, there's stuck energy. And like I've been doing so many sessions on myself. I'm now doing practice sessions. I'm almost done with them. And then I'll be rolling it out into my entire business, where all of my programs are going to be infused with Ahai. All of my one-on-one sessions are going to be infused with Ahai. Like there's going to be Ahai in everything. So I'm really excited that 2025 is going to be like this new literal energy in my business. And you can do Ahai to your business. You can do Ahai and cut cords. Like you can do so much with it. You can use it for manifestation. You can use it to clear rooms. You can use it to clear yourself. It's also like connected to the Akashic records. So you can use it to read the Akashic records. Like there's so much that you can do with it. And I'm still definitely like mastering it, which is why I haven't talked about it, even though I've been working with it for like the last 4 months. But I'm super, super excited to just infuse Ahai in everywhere in my business and kind of have this new modality that it's going to be kind of complementary to subconscious reprogramming. That's going to really help people go to another level and experience shifts quicker. You guys know me. I'm all about quickness. I'm all about that Aries energy. I just know that this is going to be a really exciting new step for my business. So yeah, Ahai energy is what it's called. And I'll share more about it soon, but that's something that you guys can look forward to, is me doing energy healing, which I never thought I would do. But it's funny because I've been thinking about doing Ahai for a while, and it's like kind of been lingering in my subconscious. And then when I had Gabrielle on the podcast before she came on, she did give me a reading and she was like, I see you doing this like energy work. I don't know what it is, like maybe something like Reiki. And I knew exactly what she was talking about because I've never, ever, ever felt called to do Reiki. Like not once I've been like, maybe Reiki, like never. But I've always had Ahai in the back of my head. And so like when she said that, I was like, oh, she means Ahai. She probably just doesn't have the words for it. And so I immediately signed up. It was like open for enrollment that day that she said it. And I was like, okay, I'm signing up. I'm doing this. And it was like kind of an edge. It was, expensive. And I was like, am I fucking going to use this? Like, I don't know, but I did it. And I'm so happy I followed my heart. And it was just kind of more confirmation of like, when you follow your heart, you can't go wrong. And when you follow your heart and trust that you're doing all the things that maybe are not logical, but make sense to your heart, you're going to be led where you want to go. And I'm just excited to see where this takes me. So yeah. The last update that I have, and something I kind of want to riff on, is identity. Maybe you can tell, maybe you can't because it's super subtle, but I did get my hair dyed from all black and I just like put some more color, like some lighter highlights in it. I'm not going to lie, I'm still getting used to it. Like this morning I looked at my hair and I'm like, I miss my black hair, but it's a completely different frequency shift. And you guys know I like live my life in eras, but you can also kind of like shift up your appearance or your hair color based on like what you're calling in or what you want to do. And this has just been one of the fun ways that I've been playing with it. And on my stories the other day, I said something like, you can create a new identity by creating a visual anchor in your 3D life. And then I had a lot of people be like, wait, what does that mean? And I kind of want to riff on this. So I dyed my hair and it like just kind of anchors me like I'm a new version of myself. But you can do this in a lot of different ways, right? Like you can start dressing differently and like that can be your visual anchor to show yourself you are a new version of yourself. You can also like do more dramatic things like get a new car, or even more subtle things like, let's say that your future self shops at Whole Foods only. Well, maybe you can't afford shopping at Whole Foods, but like maybe once a month you let yourself get your groceries from Whole Foods to like visually anchor yourself into that new reality. Or maybe you start going to a whole new coffee shop at a new part of town that like is going to be the visual anchor to you being that new identity. I do a lot of like energetic things like that to kind of symbolize to the universe like, oh, I'm ready to be this new person, or I'm ready to like reach this next level. I'll do really crazy things. Like I'll, for example, buy something. Like sometimes, I'm like, oh, like I need a little bit before I invest in this thing. Like I probably should sign on another client, but I'll just like invest in the thing and know that the client is now going to come because I assumed it was already going to happen based on the investment I made. So like you can kind of future cast your energy of like doing doing something that is in the future, but then you pull the future to you now, if that makes sense. So identity work is super, super fun for me. Like, I think that I'm always up leveling my identity. I'm currently Kristen 4.0. I think she's 4.0. It's 3.0 or 4.0. I think it's 4.0. And I'm just like, I'm really ready for her. I feel like there's going to be a lot of big things that are going to happen for me in 2025. I just feel like it's going to be a really, really big year. I'm turning 30 and oh my God, I can't believe I'm turning 30. That's so crazy to say. I feel like I was 23 like one day ago. Yeah, I'm turning 30 and like I have so many new things on the horizon for you guys. I feel like I'm really stepping into who I'm meant to be for the first time, and it's taken so much trial and error, but we're here, baby. And I'm going to have energy healing in my business and new programs. I definitely want to like put out a intuition course. A lot of things. I feel like I just poured my heart out to you guys though. I feel like you guys know everything. I feel like you guys know everything about me. No, I'm just kidding. But I really am trying to share more. And I even am trying to share more in my stories. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm trying to share a little bit more of my life on my stories. I know I'm not doing like the best job ever, but I'm doing a little bit more than I used to. So that's been fun. Other than that, I'm going to Florida in like 2 weeks for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to stay for a few weeks. I think I'm going to try to record a podcast with Anna Grace. Hopefully, I was just texting her today talking about coordinating that. So hopefully we'll have that. And yeah, just like a lot of fun stuff on the horizon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you did, because I know this was a little different. We didn't learn anything. We just did a little bit of a life update, but hopefully it was still valuable to you. Hopefully you learned some stuff. I am having a very, very biggest sale of the year, Black Friday sale, coming in on Black Friday. It's going to start that Friday, and every day is going to be a new offer dropped, but only for the 24 hours. So it's going to be a really, really amazing way to get into my world and into my work. If you want to do that, if you want to join Alignment Academy, the membership, it's open, and I really would love to have you in there. We have so many fun things going on this month and next month. We have live coaching in there. We have live meditations. We have 7 masterclasses, 7 meditations that you get to use as soon as you join. There's just so much stuff. I'm going to add some energy work stuff in there as soon as I'm like done with all of my program and stuff. And it's just going to get better and better and better. So super excited for that. But other than that, if you have any episode requests, always feel free to drop them in my inbox, in my DMs, in my email, wherever you listen to this. And as always, if you haven't rated the podcast, I am asking you from the bottom of my heart, please give it a review. It helps the podcast so much. And it might not seem like a big thing to you guys, but I produce this myself. I pay for it myself. I currently obviously don't have ads. So it's just like a little thing that you can do that just helps me grow so much. And yeah, so thank you guys. I love you. I'll see you next week for another episode. Mwah! Bye.